Okay, so we're going to discuss a twitch and what happens when you have repeated stimulation. So on this first, whoa, sorry about that. So on this first graph here, we'll discuss a twitch. So what is a twitch? A twitch is one stimulation, contraction, relaxation event. So every time you have a stimulation followed by one contraction followed by one relaxation, one of those events is called a twitch. Now, see if I can make it go down a little bit. It's not cooperating. Really? Sorry about that. For some reason, my Word was not cooperating. Okay. So now let's talk about the different parts of a twitch. Okay, so you'll see at the beginning you have a resting phase. So during this resting phase, your muscle is just vegging out. So it's like you sitting on the couch. There's really nothing much happening there. Okay, so your muscle is completely relaxed or resting at this phase. So in the resting phase, there is nothing going on. Then you'll see that at that green arrow, there's a stimulus, meaning that a nerve cell has sent an action potential from the nerve cell and it's sending it to the muscle cell. Okay, so that's a stimulus. And you'll see the stimulus starts at 0 time milliseconds. Okay, so at 0 milliseconds, we have a stimulus. Now you'll see during the latent period, there is nothing happening that you can see during the latent period. During the latent period, what is actually happening is that the action potential is going to sweep across the sarcolemma. Remember, the sarcolemma is your plasma membrane of the muscle cell. And that action potential goes from that sarcolemma and then into the muscle cell itself. And the sarcoplasmic reticulum is going to be releasing calcium ions. Okay, so all of that is occurring during that latent period. Then you have the beginning of a contraction phase. And in the contraction phase, you're going to have calcium ions now binding to troponin, and the active sites on the actin are exposed. And then you can have the cross bridges forming between the myosin and actin. So that's what's happening or occurring during that contraction phase, and that muscle starts to contract or increase in tension. And you can see that by the upper level or upper angle. Let me get my pen here. Okay, so you can see our tension is increasing as we go through our contraction phase. Okay, our tension is increasing. Then we hit this maximum tension. And at that maximum tension, now you'll start to see the tension decreasing. And the tension decreases during our relaxation phase. Okay, so in this, you need to be able to identify each of these different periods or phases. All right, I'm trying to get my pen back. There we go. Okay, so if I say, identify any of this phase where I'm scribbling, that would be your resting phase. If I say identify this period or phase, this would be your latent period, scribbling there in the red. Then if I say, what is this phase where I'm scribbling in green, this is going to be your contraction phase. And then if I say, what is this phase here where I'm scribbling orange, this would be your relaxation phase. So again, be able to identify the different phases or periods here. If I say identify the phase or period, you have 4 choices: resting, latent period, contraction phase, or relaxation phase. Okay, so it's very important that you can label those on your practical. Okay, now this one, these graphs are going to be showing the effects of repeated stimulation. So again, remember that the green arrows are going to signify a stimulus, okay? So if you'll see in all of these, you have multiple stimuli. You have a stimulus, then you'll have a increase in tension, then you'll have relaxation, then you'll have another stimulus, and then another stimulus, and another stimulus. So what are the 4 things that can occur when you have repeated stimulus? So let's talk about them, each of the graphs. So the first one, A, is called trepe. In trepe, you have a gradual increase in the tension with every successive stimulus, but you still have a complete relaxation between each contraction relaxation phase. So let me get my pen here, my handy dandy pen. Let's talk about these. So you'll see that you're increasing, you're going up in tension with each successive stimulus. But what you also see is you have a complete resting phase. So it goes all the way back down to 0 tension every time, okay? So in trepe, you have an increase in your tension with each successive stimulus, but you also have complete relaxation after every contraction. Now let's talk about B here. So B is going to be our wave summation. Sorry about that. I'm having problems with my pen today. Okay. So in wave summation, if you will think about when you did adding or addition in mathematics, 1 + 1 + 1 gives you the sum of 3. So you're doing a summation there, okay? You're adding them up. And that's what happens here. You add up the tension from one to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, because you do not have complete resting. So you'll see there's, in this graph here, after you get the first relaxation, you don't go all the way back down to this baseline of 0 tension, okay? So you're not having complete resting or relaxation phase. So what happens is you add up, okay, you get the sum, adding 1 tension up to the next tension, okay? So that's what a wave summation is. Okay, now let's go down to C. So in our C graph down here, we're going to be doing incomplete tetanus. So in incomplete tetanus, we are having repeated stimulation again, and your tension is going to add up like wave summation until it reaches a plateau. Okay, so you'll see you basically have wave summation here, and then usually it actually plateaus off before you reach maximum tension, okay? So you have, in an incomplete tetanus, you have basically a wave summation followed by a plateau before you reach maximum tension. I don't know why this one is showing you reach maximum tension. Usually you don't quite reach maximum tension. Okay, so that's what incomplete tetanus looks like. And the last one here, oh, let me tell you one thing. In this incomplete tetanus, you do have partial relaxations. So you'll see you have little dips in here. So what that is showing you is you still have partial relaxation in your incomplete tetanus. Now in your complete tetanus, you see you have the increase in tension until it gets to maximum, and then it plateaus off. One thing you'll see missing here is any relaxation phase. So in complete tetanus, you have completely eliminated your relaxation phase. There is no relaxation between one stimulus to the next stimulus, okay? So when you're looking at this in your practical, it will say to identify the graph, identify what's going on here, okay? So if I say identify A here, you would say trip A. If I said identify B, you would say complete tetanus. Identify C, incomplete tetanus. And here, identify D would be wave summation, okay? All right, y'all. Have an awesome week.